I'm Laura, 34. Standing in the opulent ballroom of my cousin Amelia's wedding, I was surrounded by a sea of faces that had once dismissed me. But now, they were filled with a desperate kind of interest. Just moments ago, my fiancé, Henry, a tech magnate worth billions, had walked in, and everything changed. The air crackled with a new energy, and I watched as my family's expressions shifted from disdain to avarice. It all started long before this moment. I grew up in a family where success was measured by very traditional standards. My parents, Richard and Elizabeth, were all about status and appearances. Richard was a high-powered lawyer, always chasing the next big case, and Elizabeth was a socialite who thrived on being part of the upper crust society. They had little patience for my career in software development. My cousin Amelia was the golden child. 3 years younger than me, she had followed the path my parents approved of. She got married at 28 to a doctor from an old, wealthy family and was pregnant within a year. At every family gathering, the contrast between us was glaring. "When will you settle down, Laura?" my mother would ask, her voice laced with disappointment. "You can't work forever." My childhood was marked by my parents' constant pressure to conform. When I was 15, I got into a prestigious computer science program at a well-known university. Instead of being proud, my parents thought it was a waste of time. They wanted me to study something more socially acceptable, like law or medicine. Despite their lack of support, I excelled in my field. I landed a job at a top-tier tech company right out of college and quickly climbed the ranks. By the time I was 30, I was a senior software engineer, managing a small team. But my family never seemed to notice my achievements. When I bought my own apartment in the city, a huge milestone in one of the most expensive real estate markets, my mother called to complain that I'd missed Amelia's baby shower. Last year, at a tech conference in New York, I met Henry. I was making my way to the coffee stand when someone bumped into me, sending my papers flying. "I'm so sorry," a deep voice said. When I looked up, I saw Henry. He was tall, with kind eyes and a warm smile. At first, I didn't recognize him. I wasn't into following tech billionaires' gossip. As we talked, I learned that Henry came from humble beginnings. He grew up in a small town in Ohio, raised by a single mother who worked multiple jobs to make ends meet. His first computer was a hand-me-down from a neighbor. We bonded over our shared experiences of struggling to succeed against the odds. Our relationship developed quickly. We spent evenings cooking at my apartment, weekends hiking in the nearby mountains, and working side by side at coffee shops. 3 months into our relationship, on a trip to a quiet beach town, Henry proposed. He got down on one knee and said, "I've never met anyone like you. You see me for who I am, flaws and all." I said yes, without hesitation. But when it came to telling my family, I hesitated. I knew they would see Henry's wealth, not the kind and brilliant man I had fallen in love with. So, we decided to keep our engagement private. When Amelia's wedding invitation arrived, Henry encouraged me to go. "Families are complicated, but you can't avoid them forever," he said. I agreed to attend, but I insisted on going alone. "I need to deal with my family on my own terms," I explained. The night before the wedding, my mother called to confirm I was coming and to express her disappointment that I'd be going alone. "Everyone will be there with a date, Laura." "What will people think?" she scolded. "They'll think I'm confident enough to come alone," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "They'll think you're too focused on your work to find a man," she snapped back. After hanging up, I called Henry in tears. "Maybe I shouldn't go," I said. "Go and show them who you are," he said firmly. The morning of the wedding, I chose a simple yet elegant black dress. It was a statement of my independence, a way to blend in while still standing out. As I put on my grandmother's pearl earrings, I made a decision. I texted Henry, "Change of plans. Come to the reception at 8. His reply was immediate. "On my way." When I arrived at the wedding, I was met with the usual dismissive looks. Amelia greeted me with a tight smile. "You look nice, Laura. But don't you think it's time to find a real man?" she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. I made my way to the singles table, where my great-aunt Mildred was sitting. "Still single, Laura? You know, in my day, Women got married young, she said loudly. As the ceremony ended and we moved to the reception, I was bombarded with more of the same. My Uncle George cornered me and said, "You should think about investing in my new business venture. It's a sure thing." I rolled my eyes. He had no idea about my financial situation or my priorities. Just as I was about to text Henry to cancel his coming, the whispers started. Heads turned and conversation stopped. I looked up and saw Henry standing at the entrance in a perfectly tailored Armani suit. His presence commanded the room. He made his way towards me, and as he got closer, I could see the looks of shock and greed on my family's faces. "Sorry I'm late," he said, kissing my cheek. Suddenly, I was the center of attention. My mother rushed over, her eyes wide with excitement. "Laura, why didn't you tell me you were bringing someone so amazing?" she gushed. Uncle George quickly changed his tune and started talking about how he'd always admired Henry's business acumen. Throughout the evening, my family's behavior became more and more transparent. They were all trying to get a piece of Henry's wealth. My cousin's husband, Tom, approached Henry and started talking about a lucrative real estate deal he was involved in. I excused myself to the bathroom to get away from the chaos. As I was walking down the hallway, I heard voices coming from the ladies' lounge. "Laura finally got something right," my Aunt Carol said. "Henry is a gold mine. We need to get in on this." My mother replied, "Yes, we should invite them over for dinner soon and see if we can get some investment for George's business." Their words cut through me like a knife. I realized that nothing had changed. They still saw me as a means to an end, a way to get closer to Henry's money. When I returned to the reception, Henry could tell something was wrong. I told him what I'd heard, and his expression darkened. "We don't have to stay here," he said. "These people don't deserve you." But I knew it wasn't that simple. I had spent years trying to win my family's approval, and I wasn't ready to give up just yet. "Let's take control of the situation," I said. As the DJ announced the cutting of the cake, Uncle George grabbed the microphone. "We have some exciting news to share," he said. Before he could continue, Henry stepped forward. "If you don't mind, I think Laura and I should share our own news." Henry took the microphone and started by congratulating Amelia and Tom on their wedding. Then he said, "Yes, Laura and I are engaged. We've been together for a year, and it's been the best year of my life." The crowd gasped in surprise. He then went on to talk about how we met and how impressed he was with my career achievements. "Laura is not just a brilliant engineer, but also a kind and generous person. She once helped a friend in need by using her own savings to get them out of a tough situation," he said, looking at me with pride. I took the microphone from him and said, "I've spent years trying to make you all happy, but I realize now that your acceptance is conditional. I'm done being treated like a second-class citizen. I'm proud of who I am and who I'm with." The room fell silent. Some of my family members looked ashamed, while others were clearly uncomfortable. Amelia stepped forward and said, "Laura, I'm sorry for the way I've treated you." As the night went on, some of my family members approached me to apologize. My mother said, "I realize I've been wrong. I want to get to know you and Henry better." In the end, I knew that the road ahead with my family would be long and difficult. But for the first time, I felt like I had a voice, and I had someone by my side who truly saw me for who I was. Henry and I left the wedding hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next together.